Good evening. Welcome to In the Metal. And thank you very much for joining us and for another episode and another journey into the world of independent watchmaking, where amazing people, amazing talents are creating some of the most astonishing timepieces of our generation that will go down for sure in history and be looked back on as museum pieces that are being crafted right here, right now, and right today. So yes, so today we are going to Dresden, to the beautiful city of Dresden, and we will be talking to a watchmaker who is a true master of his craft, a master of all of the different disciplines of independent Haute Horlogerie. And the watches that this man has created are just breathtaking in their complexity and in their beauty. And so I would like to, as usual, to help us through the next hour or so, I'm going to go over to Texas and to our resident master watchmaker and hard-rocking hellraiser, Mr. Dan Spitz. How are you, sir?
What's up, Johnny?
Oh, wow. How's things with you? How's it going in Texas with your workshop and what's going on there?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm just a teeny bit late today in Gun Barrel City, Texas. I had my guilloche, straight line guilloche machine from the late 1800s just showed up, and boy, I couldn't be happier to watch that 1-ton beast be delivered into the new workshop here. And we still have the workers working, expanding the workshop, the machine room. I'm in the new clean room and assembly room, and they're going to finish up in here in the next few weeks, and I'll be able to start rolling out machines and getting back to work, because it's been a long haul, but boy, it's a beautiful workshop, and for others to come into the workshop and share my machines when they need to, which is to give back to all this, and what I think independent watchmaking has to do to the younger generation. So it's all good, man. I'm out of this big snowstorm, but I'm really glad about today's show and seeing your face.
Hey, somebody's glad to see my face. That makes a difference, let me tell you. It doesn't happen too often. Here, honey, do you hear that?
Well, today's guest, Marco, is I don't know. He's been so influential to all of us, and I really don't think he knows how much. He might know that he's done so much. But all of us sometimes are too busy to realize how much love we've given to others, or push we've given to others to go and do things they wouldn't normally have done, or a pathway they normally wouldn't have gone down if they didn't release a certain timepiece, or a complication to that timepiece, or even the look of that timepiece, or stretch the boundaries into technology. And Marco's done all that plus 9,000 things more. And his career has spanned so long. And here he comes back around, and we'll discuss this, straight back to his watchmaking bench, starting up a whole new company representing his name and his country again, and kicking ass right out of the gate. But he's going to show you it's not easy. And it's not easy, but boy, we need that perseverance, and we need that creativity.
Yeah. So, this is Mr. Marco Lang, right? Marco Lang, who is one of the pioneers of contemporary independent watchmaking now. I think Marco graduated or got his certification of watchmaking 1989. And I remember in 1989, no, you probably don't, but it was, you were busy doing other things, man.
Yeah.
But this was in the middle of the quartz era. And, things were looking bleak for handmade mechanical watches. And so a pioneer a watchmaker who, as I said, he is a member of the AHCI. So, and the criteria for membership in that association, the bar is way, way, way up there. And so, a great guy. Do you know what? If we keep talking about him, he'll have got fed up and headed home. So let's go across to Dresden and to say, Guten Abend, Dresden. If you get...
Good evening. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Marco. Good to see you.
Good evening.
Excellent. Thank you very much for...
But I'm very pleased about your many compliments. Thank you.
Marco, it's they are, every one of them are very well deserved and very well merited. As I was telling our followers, just how important your role has been in independent watchmaking in the early days of the AHCI, and how you grew your own company with Mirko initially, Mirko Heyne, for a year or two before going out, before Mirko leaving, and you carried the thing on, and my goodness, what a legacy you have left there, you know. So yeah, excellent. So let's get down to it. So how are you, and what are you working on at the minute?
So today, yes. So in the last hours, I prepared this little session, but before I made for buckles today. It's very simple. It's not a real, not very fine horlogerie, but I can show you. Yeah, I polished the buckles. You can see.
Okay, we can see it. Where do you see this?
Nice.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
So,
Marco, because you've been so influential to all of us, and basically one of the creators of writing the map of what independent watchmaking has come to today, which I think it's almost in its third generation of independent watchmaking. You know, with you and Paul Gerber, and you guys were like the pioneers, like in music. Like I started a new kind of music called thrash metal when there was no name for it. One of my songs is actually a song called Fistful of Metal I co-wrote. A song called Metal Thrashing Mad. That song was what a writer took, and they couldn't even describe our music, and they said thrash, metal thrashing threat. That's what it'll be called, and that was a new genre. And you were at that time of independent watchmaking where there really wasn't a name for independent watchmaking. It was just some crazy nut in his house who decided that he would try to make everything and sell his own timepiece separate from mass production. And you did it, and you survived, you know, all these different turnarounds and built these incredible companies. So you could just tell us just a little bit about the perseverance you needed to get through all of that, and where the creativity comes from.
I don't know. So, but maybe you mean I'm one of the old watchmakers?
Yeah. You're like a petrified tree.
Yes, maybe without hers, you think.
Yeah, same thing.
But of course, Paul Gerber or George Daniels or Philippe Dufour, that was my watchmaker, my man's of imagination of. So I ever would be like them. So, and when I was the first time in Basel as an apprentice, my father was taking me to the HCI both. And I was so excited about this, and now I'm too from the HCI, and now I'm too a watchmaker. It's a big honor for me. Yeah, it's very good, but it's normally it's not a big way to go to be a high-end watchmaker. It's more to sit down and to create a watch on the computer or so, and make it. It's like you on your brioche machine. It's simple. It's not a big thing. But if you like it very much, then the target is high. Then also the result, it's good. I hope.
The passion. You have to have that inner passion, and it's not a job. It's what we love. It's what we love, right? Yeah.
It's maybe it's a job, but it don't feels like a job. It feels more like fun. It's work. It's much work, but any day it's a new party.
Yeah. But see, you've built companies, like a really large companies. You've embraced technology, so you're not an independent watchmaker who just says, "Oh, I just want to use my Shaolin and I'll make my timepiece. If I make 1 a year, that's fine with me. If I make 3 a year, that's fine with me." In the past, you've embraced technology to the point of being one of the first probably to move into Kearns into Langenhain and take that 6497/6498 and make it your own, right? And completely revamp it and make it your own. And the polishing, the way you do your finishing is above and beyond even what's mortal or normal. And it shows, and you've left a lasting impression on all of us, not just the collectors. The collectors, they view you, who are you, but as watchmakers at our level, we all look up to you, and it's very rare that anyone gets a chance to speak with you. In fact, this might be the only time. And so I'd just like to kind of, get a little insight into how you operate. And back then, I know it was like you had to learn CNC, because the only people that could run it were people who weren't in watchmaking. So how did you make that happen? Like bring it in-house and say, okay, I'm going to make my main plates, right here, right now. And how did you actually make that happen?
Maybe the first step was my first apprentice. So I don't make the first apprentice as watchmaker. I made it as a tool maker, mechanic, fine mechanic. So with this, I learned many about machines, many about tool making, and more to produce or to create with hands. As the watchmaker apprentice in the GDR time, also later after the wall was falling down, it was not really for production, for hand making, or for creating parts, and that's why I think it was a good decision to make at first toolmaker apprentice time, and after this hand making watchmaker additional apprentice time. And then, like you, my interest anytimes was for new technologies, for new machines. My head was open for different things, and all what I want to create, I also want to produce. And I don't want to be I don't want to need any times suppliers for all. I also any things, the wheels, the bridges, the buckles. I want to make also by my hands, not by my hands only, also by CNC. What you say, of course. When I both my first CNC, also it's the first program I make by myself, and later I get some people for this, some good CNC makers and so on. But now today I don't have more CNC. I have a 3D printer, but no more CNC.
So you came across the same problems that have never gone away, and they're not going to go away in independent watchmaking. Meaning someone like me, who I'm a one-man show. I like to be alone, maybe another watchmaker later on to help and get him on his way or her on their way. But you came into that problem of we're dealing in very small quantities, and sometimes 10 or less per year, or whatever it may be, and you need to buy screws and a certain size screws, or jewels, or even Sherman silver to make main plates, or whatever it may be. And it looks like you came into that same problem, and it was just like, screw this. I got to do it all here. Like somehow I got to figure out a way. If I have to learn CAD, if I have to learn a little bit of CAM, and is that true? Basically, like that's what pushed you to say, I can't rely on suppliers, because how am I supposed to buy it? And then if I can find someone, it's going to be forever for them to send me my 500 screws. I could wait till next year because they have bigger orders.
Yes, what you say is totally right. For small quantities, to get some parts, it's very difficult. And I try to think about it by the construction. If I need for one movement only one screw, for example, I make it by myself with a professional machine. But I try, of course, to take more screws from the same size or nearly from the same size, and then it makes more sense, of course, this parts to buy by a supplier. And as a row screw, and make it the finish and the end measure by myself.
Right. So Marco, what we keep trying to show is the collectors that watch the show that really want to know the behind the scenes, the struggles that we have to make independent watchmaking what it is, and why sometimes our watches are they're quite expensive. They are a piece of art. They're not really just a timepiece. But in order to create that art, those struggles of just finding the right screw, or what Marco said is very interesting, because it's the same conception that I did when I designed my timepieces. We actually have to think and battle designs different than a big company. We'll actually redesign certain components so that they will take a same size screw, so we don't have to go to a supplier to order 9 different types of screws if we're not making them by ourselves easier. Maybe the head is just a little bit bigger all throughout, but it's the same size, maybe an M1 type screw thread, so that we can somehow produce this timepiece. Because in order to get all these different screws that a large production manufacturer would have, they'd have 13, 14 different size screws. They're buying 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 screws at a time. So they have the means to do that. They can spend $200,000 on screws and just put them away. We don't have that. So it's a battle all along the way. So please appreciate what Marco does when you are wearing one of his timepieces or one of his new timepieces that are probably like 4 years on back order by now already.
Well, yeah.
Appreciate the struggle, right, Marco? They got to appreciate the struggle that we have. But also in the end, when it's done, we're very proud of, hey, man, we did that. It might have taken us a lot longer in 3D CAD to design and manipulate it and think. Or sometimes endless nights in bed sleeping. How the hell am I going to make that one part take that same size screw? It's a struggle for all of us all along the way.
Yes. Yeah. Also, the HCI, the club is very good. So we can help us in a joint HCI. So we talk another watchmaker. Do you have this screw in this size? And so we can change a little bit later. And also with stones, the same thing. Stones in a jewels. Jewels in a small quantity to get very, very, very difficult.
That's interesting, because I don't think that has been mentioned before, guys. That the AHCI there is a buying power there from the combined.
Not really, not
collective,
not in the full team. So it's only some direct contacts in a joint HCI.
Well, here I am going to go back to before AHCI days, because just to have a little look at. Well, we know what your work looks like, and we're going to have a little bit of a look over some of the highlights of the previous 18 years, let's say, in Dresden. But before that, you started working, as you explained to me earlier, on clocks. Then, yeah.
Yes.
And, so this is going back. This is your first.
It's the real first thing for my apprentice time. But I made it in the evening hours of this, and I like it. this small this thing from Galileo, and it's not a real clock or not a watch, but it's my first step.
Your first step. See, I don't think many people will have seen this before, Marco, and that's why I just wanted to show it, because it's going back to where, as I said, a lot of people would be familiar with Lang & Heyne, and now Marco Lang watches of Dresden, which is your new solo. You're back solo again, doing what you love. I assume that you've detached yourself from the business end of things to get back into the actually working in your atelier, and I know that the response has been, as you told me earlier, fantastic. So there's a great appetite for your work, because of the legacy that you've built. But you'd shown us a couple of clocks. There's the other one there, the calendar.
Yes, this is only the movement of a precision pendulum clock with a 1 second pendulum clock with a 1 meter pendulum, and the customer would have with a perpetual calendar, and this I made for him. 3 months power reserve, perpetual calendar, and a very, very precise moon phase.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. And as I say, Dan, the reason I'm showing these is because people will not really have seen these before. And, it's a very rare opportunity to get to talk with Marco. And so I just wanted to go over a few of the pieces that from the beginning. So,
today I'm very happy to be a watchmaker and not a clockmaker, because I know the difficulties.
Yes.
So in clockmaking you have bigger mass, more mass, bigger surfaces. It takes a long time more to polish, and also the market for clocks, it's much smaller than for watches, and that's why I'm very happy today to meet Mr. Heyne in 1999, and we started with a watch company and not with a clock company.
Where did you go to school, Marco, for watchmaking?
So my first apprentice time was in Glashütte in Saxony, but as a mechanic. It was in the school of watchmaking, but I learned as a mechanic. So in the GDR time, it was a special apprentice. And in the last year, this was 3 years, and in the last year, I made the practical work by my father in the workshop. And after this, I was going to Rastede. Rastede is a very small town in northern Germany, on the North Sea. And this very very traditional watch and clockmaker, for restoration, for repairing, and so on. He has had a fable for clocks, for precision pendulum clocks. And that's why my exciting comes from him, from his mind about clocks.
How long did you apprentice there?
3 years in Glashütte, and in Rastede as a watchmaker. Normally also 3 years, but I made it 1 year shorter, so in 2 years. So in total 5 years.
1 year shorter means Johnny, he's a genius, just so you know. He's short.
Yes.
It's normal.
Skip a year, 3 year course.
If nobody caught that, I did.
It's a second apprentice time. You can leave 1 year earlier. That's why. Yeah.
It's always good to quit school, Marco.
What? Sorry?
It's always good to quit school early.
Yes. But I enjoy this very much.
So
that's killer, man.
Brilliant. So
yeah.
So before we, I guess before we do a retrospective, I think, what do you think, Dan, that we maybe take a look at Marco's latest spectacular creation, which is called the Zweigesicht, which all of our German-speaking friends will be very impressed with my pronunciation.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually.
It's sehr good. So, it's the Zweigesicht, which translates as two faces. And so this is your first piece post Heyne, yeah?
Yes.
And so I'm sure a really liberating occasion for you to finally get the watch completed and to get the first piece created. So we've seen it just days before Christmas, and so this is the beautiful do the two faces have names, Marco, in your mind? Is that the do the two faces have names? Is this the up? Is this the?
No, it's only front one or front two, or front main dial or movement dial.
Main dial or movement dial. So again, I wrote about this watch around about the time that it was released, because it just absolutely was. I fell in love with it, and because, as I said, it's called the Zweigesicht, the two faces, and this is the movement side, and it is all of your finishing talents condensed into this extraordinary display, and there's a little novelty in it that is that I absolutely love. So tell us about the inspiration. I think it came with you were talking with a customer.
Yes, it again, like many times, my inspirations comes from the customers, and also in this case. So for my old watches, also by Heyne, many customers likes very much the movement side, and would have to turn the watch for having the movement side on the wrist, and that's why I have think about it, how I can make for my mind to say about it. For my mind, I think the front side is for showing the time, and the back side is for the party, for the eyes movement side. So I like to wear my watch in a normal with the main dial on the wrist.
Yes.
But the customers like it, and so I made two mechanisms for the hands, one on the back side and one on the front side. Of course, they are combined together, so they shows the same time.
Yes, and but that means that you've got to reverse engineer the gearing, then, I assume, for the rear side, for the hands are going in different directions, obviously. So I always found that amazing about watches, and there aren't too many which have two faces. Obviously, the reverso, etc. But no, absolutely a beautiful piece. And there's one little novelty on it there that was. I had to study this for so long when I was writing about this, Dan, because it was I was trying to figure, how does that work? Because it's not actually mechanical, is it, Marco?
It is. It's like a micromechanic. You mean we speak now about the shock indication mechanism?
Yeah. This was it. Yeah.
Yes, of course, it's mechanic. It's you see the small weight in the middle under the white screw.
Yes.
And this weight, it moves some springs, and the springs again moves the hands. and so you can see only by wearing, or by if you get if the watch get a shock, so the hands turn around or move.
They separate, don't they? Yeah, there's
it don't combine or don't fix with the watch. It's a separate assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful little novelty that I'd never seen. Obviously, we've never seen before because you created it, and this is. So
maybe it was only a crazy idea. It was only an interest for me, or in a speaking with a customer. Also, it's more philosophy that the precise of a watch comes also from the shocks from outside has a very big
effect.
Yes, effect to the precise of the watch, and that's why I want to know how big are these shocks, and then I made I think about, or I created this assembly.
It's a fantastic, incredible idea. I can't believe nobody has really thought of something along these lines for all these years, because we know now, to get rid of the banking pins, or what the banking pins purpose served. The collectors understand now, Marco, right? They really are, because of the internet, they're able to learn a lot more, and they know what free sprung balance is, and that helps the shock, but they really don't know how to measure shock. How many times, your shock has gone through a hit in each day? If you're an attorney wearing your timepiece, then it might keep a little better time because you're not knocking your watch so much. But if you're a person that's more active and smashing, or just a person that's angry all the time, and smashing stuff, Marco's invention is going to be like on full tilt all the time. You don't have to wonder why your watch is not keeping good time and keep yelling that it's the watchmaker's fault who can't adjust the watch. It's actually your fault. You need to stop. You need to stop hitting stuff, bro.
But the finishing is spectacular, isn't it, Marco?
Yeah, thank you. So, but it's again my taste of watchmaking. It's so many times when I make a part, a bridge or wheel, many times I must like it, and I'm satisfied when it looks good in my taste, or very good or fantastic. And yes, it starts by the construction with the shape. You see the balance with a Gothic style, or also this small dial, and with the sleeve, with the different sleeves. Also in combination to other parts, it must be any times a good family of parts. And so I like it, and I make it for me, and I have many pleasure. Also, the customer like it.
How do you design this movement, Marco? Do you yourself sit inside a CAD program and design, or do you have someone you work with, or can you explain how you? I mean, I'm sure how you dream it up. Do you draw it on a napkin, and then from there, can you explain a little bit of the process of this particular movement that you've developed?
Many people ask me maybe if I am a good drawer or a good painter. I'm absolutely not. I don't can painting or drawing. I only all my minds are working on the computer, in constructing. I go without paper, without pen on the computer and start with the first part, and then step by step will be the assembly bigger and bigger. So
that sounds very difficult.
Try and error, of course. Sometimes I make a bridge 3 times or more, and and of course you need a red line for what you want to do. By Lang & Heyne, I made a completely other design than now. Now my mind was to make flying bridges. So anytime, so bridges with wings or like wings in a symmetrical composition, and this style made this architecture it's a complete movement.
But I know at this point in time, there's other people besides yourself that have gone through these similar paths as you through independent watchmaking. Okay, let's separate independent watchmaking from everything else. Where you were there at the birth of it, you moved forward. Perhaps you took in investors, which I keep telling everyone is part of our show, Marco. If you haven't watched it, who we meet with, who we talk to. So again, just like you, some of the most influential watchmakers in independent watchmaking, and they've been through similar situations, either going to a bank or going to an idiot who wears a suit and a tie and says, I want to invest in your company, I know you need this and that, and then it becomes wrong side up, let's say. And because we're as I think a lot of us are very much like musicians, and I can speak from both sides, where it's difficult. We think differently. We are true artists, the true artists of independent watchmaking. And we sometimes get ourselves in the wrong side of a hole where we just want to create. We want to know a lot about that stuff. So we try to teach people not to go there, because in the end, it's best to be at your bench and have the freedom to create. And we know it's a struggle to start again what you're doing now and get it all going again. And of course, your designs are timeless always, and your new watch is extremely successful. But tell us some of the struggles that it was to get this off the ground, because now you don't have a kern inside your building, right? Just yet. And the CNC machines but you are, in a good place where your workshop is. You're not in the middle of Iowa in the United States or Gun Barrel City, Texas. You have access to outside sources. So explain to us what that struggle was like to make the new main plates and get it started again, and that good feeling of being at your bench again.
So, but what was your question? So I'm completely right with you. So I want this was the reason that I was left Lange Heyne. I remember me that I would be an artist, and by Lange Heyne I wasn't not more an artist. I was more a businessman in the later time. It was like a small child. It was bigger and bigger and bigger, and on the last time it was not more my job what I want to do, and also for the customers likes us because we works like artists, and we would make art and not a strong with a strong calculation make watch, and with a big market and with a big advertising and so on. That's why I'm very happy to be alone again, and I take my time for every part. What I need for time, I take me, and that's it's more like an artist. I'm completely right with you.
Well, that's what we try to teach some of the younger people going into this. Is what this show is it about a little bit, when we get to speak someone such as yourself, to try to guide them, because I've seen it a few times, Marco. The young person, they release their watch as an independent watchmaker, and all of a sudden, there's 20 guys on the phone that want to invest in their company, and they'll write me, and I say, don't do it. Stay independent. Independence means being independent. What part of that word didn't you understand, right? Because it's going to come back and bite you in the fucking ass, right? It's like, just stay independent. Keep your creativity, because what this generation of independent watchmaking is we are making art. We no longer really have to have time on our wrists, right? Like 100 years ago, we don't need it. We have it on our phone, which enables us, Marco, right now to really make art, to really put the gears or whatever we want on the front, and really show that it's micro-mechanical art that blows your mind. It's just what you do is what your new timepiece. It's like we all look at it and we're like, the second you release it, we all want to go like, what the hell did he do? What is that? What is that shot thing on the side? Like, what's Marco thinking? And that's the cool part of it. It's like getting new music, like something you never heard before. It's like in the old days, you couldn't wait to get to the record store, right, and get the album home and put it on. It was actual vinyl, it was a big album cover you stared at, and you listen, you're like, how the hell did he play that? How the hell did he play that riff? And it's the same kind of thing with independent watchmaking. We want to know how the hell you made that, and that's kind of where I'm getting at now. Now that we gave them some
maybe,
valuable information.
Yeah, but maybe it's more philosophy. It's I like it both. So also to make Lang & Heyne bigger, or it's not a big company. Lang & Heyne is also small with 25 makers, but also this way I like it in the past, because also to make a small company with a little bit more watches between 50 and 100, also not so much. And if the philosophy in the team with all the watchmakers, it's the same. It's also very good way. I like it too. For me, it was a very good time by Lang & Heyne too. But after this longer time, after nearly 20 years Lang & Heyne, I decided to go out and walk alone. Now I have, my mind is this: normally one watch in a year is enough. It only the ideas has to be built, not in big quantities or not in quantities, better in one piece. And this with this mind, I go now
at your own pace.
Yes.
Yeah, you go when you feel like it. Okay, I think it's time.
I need some watches for get a little bit money for eat, but it's enough. So I'm very happy with very small quantities. That's why my Zweigesicht is limited to 18 pieces, because when I make more, then I only work in the rest of my life for one model. I don't like this. I want to make more ideas. I want to create all my ideas in my head. And after this 18 watches, I make the next project.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a brilliant thing to say, because in my own life, in my previous career, I worked in beer industry. I imported Erdinger Weissblau and Warsteiner and Kronbacher into Ireland, and we were very lucky to have great relationships directly with the breweries. Now, after that career, I was going to go and do something, a new beer company, and one day it occurred to me that if I did that, I would go to my grave knowing how to sell beer and nothing really else. And that's why I went looking for something that was going to stimulate my mind. So I understand exactly what you mean when you say that, if I make unlimited number of Zweigesicht, that's going to occupy you for maybe for years down into your career. So brilliant. And it also gives us something new to look forward to as well. So it's always something, and
it keeps the creativity alive, Johnny. It's the same as music. You put out a new album, you go on tour, right? After 3 years of playing that song,
yes, you want to
every single night. You're just like, oh man, like I can't wait to write some new music.
And maybe it's the same. Yeah.
It's the same thing. A true artist, true artisan. Do you think
maybe we have to less patience? Maybe businessmen needs more patience, and we want anytime a new one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And everybody tells us we're watchmakers. We have like the most patience in the world, right, Marco? When
my workbench. Only on the workbench.
Do you think that you're gonna later on maybe expand your personal workshop a little bit more and bring in some CNC machines, or expand the shop more?
Yes, we can make a little tour if you want. So
that would be awesome.
CNC machines, I don't have more. For example, the main plates or the roll bridges, I have suppliers for this. So it's a good man. For example, the old production manager of the UWD, the company what I founded too. He also is alone now and has a CNC machine, only one CNC, and he makes the bridges and main plates in a row.
Is he working from his home as well? Like
yes, it's also as a very small, as a one-man show, one-man company.
So
UWD, that was Uhrenwerk Dresden, yes? And that's, have you you were part of that? And
sorry.
were you?
What do you mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
UWD.
Yes.
That was just after Lang and Heyne. So,
but it's combined in one company. So the UWD also now Lang and Heyne. In the last time when I was by Lang and Heyne, it was moving to the UWD, and now it's in the same house.
Okay, and right. Okay.
UWD, it's one part. Lang and Heyne is one part, and UWD it's the other part now.
Okay, but you founded UWD then as well. You were one of the.
I find it. No, I found it. Yes.
Yeah.
Investor in 2013.
Yeah. Beautiful movements too. Great idea, great execution. But you see, John, before Marco shows us around the workshop, which we all want to see, you see how the monolith starts to get bigger. You know, Marco needed to break out and do something else. So it was, let's make my own movements at UWD, which will also supply Lang and Heyne with parts. Correct, Marco? And then
yes, it's a part company for Lang and Heyne. So for all of we both big CNC machines with many automatical processes, and also, of course, the reason was to deliver other companies and also Lang and Heyne, but also the target was to make a very good mechanical movement for watches under 10,000 euro customer. And but this target I haven't. It was my target, but I don't make it.
Yeah, unachievable.
It was too complex, and the UWD movement. It's also a little. The standard is high. And,
yes,
but it also sounds to me that it was when you wanted to get away from the business end of Lang and Heyne, UWD was kind of going right back into business again. For now that you're on your own,
no, it's more my mind now. What we say before. So I want to be an artist again, and this to take a movement like in the UWD, it needs other thinking. It needs processes. And many tables for the stuff. All the stuff they must learn, and it's not only I have an idea and I make it now. This is you can't make an industry company, but now in a one-man show, I have today an idea and tomorrow I have the part, and so it's much faster. And I only must make it by myself. But in the UWD, it's another process. I like it. So it was a big target, or it was a big challenge for me, and I like it. But since some years, I know it's not my target for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, excellent.
Maybe other people has to make it.
And now we know that a lot of independent watchmakers have that. They have other watchmakers working with them. So are you on your own in your atelier, or do you have a young watchmaker working with you, or?
So at the moment, I get emails and many phone callings for many watchmakers would work again with me.
Yeah.
But, I say no at the moment, because when I take one, the second is there, the third, and again and again and again.
Here we go again. It's the same hamster wheel all over again.
Yes.
See, and again, right, Johnny? I keep stressing it. It just stay independent, stay very small. If you're gonna like me, I'm the same as you, Marco. I'm just gonna stay alone. I've had the offers, the same thing, but I will be helping other young watchmakers because in America we don't have any of the machines basically like that I have here. There's no way to make your own dial on a straight line guilloche machine and sit on my Shaolins and jig borers and all that. So one at a time, they're more than welcome to come from the Wostep school that's right here. And if they want to make their first timepiece outside of school, the machines aren't even there. They're more than welcome to sit at the second bench and work. But I might also put them to work and slave drive them a little bit to work on my piece for a little while, earn your money kind of thing. But no, I'm not looking to really full time.
To me, that
watchmaking, because then Johnny, it starts to just go like this. And, maybe I can make 12 watches now, maybe 15, and then now it's a business and a headache, and it's I'm not at my bench anymore.
Absolutely, yeah.
I made it with pleasure to have apprentices, to have many stuff. It was a very good time, but today I know I have friends for speaking about it, but I want to work alone, or maybe a very small team. But at the moment, I'm very happy with this.
Happiness is health and happiness.
Yeah. Show us around your workshop if you could, Marco.
Yes, let's have a little look. Yep.
Well, maybe I try to change the camera.
You do that.
And so then we can go some steps. Now it's at the back side.
Yeah.
You see the computer with the construction of the Zweigesicht movement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I find it amazing that it's all done on your drawings are all done on computer, and it must be difficult to envisage or to picture what you're going to do. Anyway, I'll shut up. Let's hear from you.
Let's go some steps here. I make at the moment the buckles. What I told you before. This is one work table. And so I'm in the Souterrain, in the first floor of my house. So my family is living over us.
Wow.
Upstairs.
Right. Upstairs, yes. Mm-hmm. And here in this room was the CNC machine or the CNC workshop from Langentheine before. Yeah. Here you see I have a small showcase for old tools. Also, sometimes I work with old tools when I make a special tool or a special thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have only 30 to 80 square meters here. This is my normal work table. This is our workbench with a flow box upside. So it's with a very clean, dust-free atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And here at the moment I make the number one of the Zweigesicht. Here is before assembling. This number one it goes to Japan, and I will finish it in May maybe. Mm-hmm. Here yesterday I get the main.
Beautiful.
Yes, this from engraver. So in the neighbor house of from here works Matthias Köhler. This is my hand engraver for all the customizing or the logo and so on. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he is your neighbor.
Here, sorry.
He is your neighbor.
Yes, he's my neighbor. Yeah. He was started by Langentheine, I think 2005 or 2007, and then 10 years later he also left Langentheine and works now for different other companies. Also for Langentheine, he makes the engravements.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yes. Here on the wall you see the master graduation pieces of my family, of my father, grandfather, great-grandfather. So, I'm the 5th generation watchmaker now.
Wow.
Yes,
Amazing.
on this table was the CNC machine before. Now I have some small machines, microscope for finishing, the
It's a linen.
8 millimeter Bolai linen, yes.
Yeah, I have the same lathe. Beautiful lathe.
I make the wheels, the axis of the wheels, many things also only with hands, like a wooden turning man, yes, but of course with more precision. And any machines or all machines I like this to combine with a microscope. My eyes are not the best more. Yeah. Here I work now for finishing the buckles with a self-made lapidier machine. You see, it's these parts are all 3D printed. So for this, I use a 3D printer for tools.
Wow.
Yes, and I like it very much. I think for small independent, is a 3D printer very, very helpful.
Wow.
What's the machine? What's the machine in the back next to the drill? In the back.
Here, in the back here, this is, you mean this one?
Yes.
This is a Polish machine for pinions. It's a rolling machine, or what you say? I don't know in English. For the pinion has to be polished on the corners. Yeah.
Yeah. Pinion polishing machine. Yeah. Okay.
So on the back side here you see also my wife is a painter. I can paint, but my wife can make it, and she's many times she makes some very good paintings for me. Yeah, here she sees the Mona Lisa with a langen Teine on her wrist.
Oh, that's killer, man! That's great. That's awesome.
Yes, this is a profile projector. You also have one. It's very helpful. It's a must-be for control the axis, distance of the axis, and the profile of some springs and so on. Yes, here in the and I have some old machines again from of my family. So I get it from my father. Here you see it's a pendulum movement, a clock. What I have to finish it in the next in the next years. And again, here some machines. Here's this model. This is
yes.
Yeah, look at that.
1993.
Maybe if you have, here you can see the function.
Awesome,
yes.
man.
I made six pieces from this model, and some I sold, and I only have one of this now.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And,
Thank you.
Yeah. So
what's in the glass case? Show us the glass case, Marco.
Glass case.
Yeah.
Here you have.
I see a pivot
very
fix.
very important. Very important.
Yeah, a pivot fix.
Yes.
wow.
And some old turning machines parts, measure. I don't know me to tell you, and also some measure things. Yes, and old milling tools and so on. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So now we go out here. Maybe we look in the dirty room. It's for a room for sandblasting, and the oven firing for harden the steel and for the enameling. So
yes,
the small dial on the movement side, it's with translucent enamel, and this I make self in the workshop. I don't make white enamel, because this is as a technology, but translucent champleur enamel that I can make by myself.
Wow.
Yes, and here it's a cleaning room It's also a small thing. So we have the turning cleaning machine, some ultrasonic machine, or
yes, that's it. Ultrasonic.
Yes.
Cleaning machine.
And here also is the self-made galvanic. This made I made by myself for rhodium plating, for gold plating, in all colors and so on.
Did you do the wood? Did you do the woodwork?
Yes, I made it. This is very new. So by Lang & Heyne, we also made our own one, but this one I made last year. When I made my workshop, I started with a complete new workshop. It's I don't have more machines. I all sold my machines to Lang & Heyne before.
Wow!
And that's why I have to build up completely new. Yeah. Here, polishing machine, of course, it's important for the cases and buckles and so on. Yeah. So now we go back to the workshop.
What a fantastic tour!
This is great. Great.
Here is this 3D printer. This is from Czech Republic, a 3D printer, and it's very good to make. Here you see, for example, this things on the
soft jaws,
and many things I made. Here you have some production machines, sleeve the tools, the hull machine for hulls, and this of course the Schaubling, and all what I need on turning parts I make with this big Schaubling, as most of it. When I work with support, is this also in English? Support? What is the name of this in English?
Cross slide.
When I use this one, I take the big Schaubling, the Schaubling 102. On the other small Bolei linen, I only work with a hand tool. Yeah. Okay. And here, for example, I made, this is very young, 3 weeks before, I made this new revolver tool holder. Beautiful. So I have, it's a 8 tools, and I can change very fast by turning. It's very good for make small series.
Great idea. Great idea, Marco.
Yeah. It's so in brass and steel, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, great idea.
And here also the tools for the Schaubling. It's also CT printed, which you see is a orange part.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all. It's not big, but it's enough for me, and I like to work here.
That is. Yeah. What an amazing workspace. Yeah. But it strikes me, as you're saying, Marco, that you're 5th generation of watchmaking. Your father before you was a restorer in the Dresden. It was a museum, was it? And but it occurred to me, Dan, as well. The engraver who lives next, who is your neighbour. You've brought not only employment to your community, but you're reviving watchmaking. Really, you're bringing watchmaking back into your city, like, you know. And
yes, I think. But at first it was coming in the past. The bigger companies like Lange & Söhne. I think Lange & Söhne was for my hope for Saxony. It was very important because they showed that they can make luxury watches and can sell it and have customers for this. And I think also for me, I today I'm not here if Lange & Söhne has not before make a foundation for independence. It was very important for me.
Well, what you're showing, Marco, again, is modern day independent watchmaking that term, we make it in-house, that bullshit term that has been stretched so far beyond its means that, you are on the first floor of your house and you live upstairs. Okay.
Yes.
Same as me, my new place here. I'm expanding here by the lake here in Texas, and I work in my house. That's true independent watchmaking. It doesn't matter how we're making it. It doesn't matter if this part or that part or whatever is being made as in my town by another worker or whatever. Maybe you are representing your hometown, and we all work a little bit different. Sometimes a lot of bit different. You see the same machines. If the collectors are watching, they see your Shaolin 102. You took a liking to that. Same as me. I have a 70 also, but for some reason, I just love my 102. There's just something about it. It's just as accurate as a 70. The collars go just as low and small. And I don't know. I just like my 102. We don't need much to get it done and be an independent watchmaker. We need space. And
again, it's the passion. It's not work, it's life, and you has the same feeling. When in the evening, if you have an idea, you can go downside and you stay on the machine, and it's very fun. Not all people like this, but I like it too.
Yeah, me too. It's everybody sleeping, and maybe that's your time to work. My past life is a musician, so it's a late night, kind of thing. And I really can't work with a punch a clock goes. Even if I owned the shop a mile, 2 miles from here, it wouldn't work out for me because it's I have to go there, and then I'll feel like I have to leave at a certain time. It just doesn't fit my soul. We're all a little bit different that way, but being in house is really cool. Plus, again, you're representing your country. I know I played Dresden as a musician many, many times. I've been there many, many times.
If Corona stops, come and visit us.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. And it's a great place. Germany was crazy crowds, especially in the early 80s, the birth of thrash metal it's just,
I love Germany.
Insane. Yeah. It's just incredible. But you're representing your hometown. And I think what Johnny was trying to say, right, Johnny, is that you're putting other people to work who left your former company or another former company and, side work. And if they can get 10, 12 different pieces of side work, now they're working from home. And that really is this generation.
That's what I see. There's an ecosystem, if you like, that exists around Marco Lang. Yeah. And that's over the last 20 years, really, that people who may have gone on to do other professions have trained and become absolute masterful watchmakers. I remember the AHCI dinner in London with you, and you had you showed me one of the pieces that was being made at the time. I can't remember. I actually don't have a photograph of it here tonight, but that was a young guy who was making his own watch in the Langenhain atelier. And I just love that you have given birth to that independent industry there in your own town. It's to me, it might sound like nonsense to you, but to me, I just see other people working because of what you do. Learning a skill. I think it's fantastic.
Or stealing his ideas. Marco's ideas just kick ass. I mean,
So in the last days or in the last months, I counted the people's which I worked with so some of my staff or the employees from Langenhain.
Yes.
And this was more than 60 people. So with apprentices, with employees, I'm a little bit proud of this.
You should be a lot bit proud.
That's my point. You should be proud because I think it's a wonderful.
And the new workshop, Marco, is spectacular. Man, you have what you need. You're comfortable. You should be smiling, every day. Beautiful machines. It's a workshop most people would dream about, and you get to sit at the bench when you want, whatever day you want, and create. The only thing I can say, Marco, is the one that's on your bench now, number one, you need to take that for yourself. Because you're going to end up that same story as everybody else. I don't have time to... Oh, you got
the prototype.
I don't want you to fall into that same old story of everybody says, I don't have time to make one for myself.
Yeah. No, because I have to test it too. So I go by. Yesterday I was going by bike on the very. So also the shocks I must test it with my shock system, and that's why. Yeah, I like it to have my own watch again. Yeah. By Langenbeine, I never had one watch.
See what I mean, Johnny? See what I mean? It's always that same story. I didn't want you to fall into that story this time, Marco. I don't have time to build a watch for me. I got to build them for everybody else.
Dan, we always talk about the struggle. I think Marco has been through the struggle, has come out the far side, and this is a very happy story. You know that, and you've left friends behind you. You haven't had. As we say here, we haven't fallen out with anybody. You know, everybody. Mirko is still a friend. The name Lang and Heyne is testament to that relationship. A very short relationship professionally, but the name stayed. And as you said to me earlier, that when I was asking, could we talk about Lang Heyne? You said absolutely. So. I think you've come through a fantastic legacy, and and I have to say I've got watches here that I wanted to look at just to really to put on record the quality of your workmanship. And if I have an image here of the Jorg and of the back and the finishing on this, I remember seeing this and.
This inspiration was coming for the Caliber 8. Before, when I started with the Caliber 1, many years we also the following models was with a 3/4 plate from in the class in the Saxony style.
Yes.
And, sometime after sometimes it was enough for me anytime. So I like it too with the 3/4 plate, but you don't see many parts of the watch.
Yeah.
The 3/4 plate lives from the surface. It looks very, very smart or very clean. But later, my taste was a little bit more difficult or more complex, and that's why I like to show the wheels. So in the middle of the 2000 years, so 2005, we changed this for all of our wheels. All wheels are made from massive gold in a hard gold alloy, and of course, I want to show the customers, or I want to show the watch connoisseurs, and that's why I was changed from the 3/4 plate, from the close movement to the open movement with the bridges.
What kind of gold? What kind of gold are the wheels?
This is a 14 karat alloy in rose gold with a bigger part with copper. So it's harder than brass, and also it's not the function is better, not only about the hardness, it's more the friction is less than a brass wheel, and of course it looks better. You don't need a galvanic plate,
right? You don't need the plating
for the wheels, and
plating the wheels. We always try to educate the collector, Marco, a little bit. When we're plating the wheels, it looks beautiful, but it has to be done correctly, because if you plate it, the inside of the teeth is also being plated, which changes the dimension.
Yes, but you wheels. In the industry, you make at first the plating, and then you cut the teeth. And so with this you don't have plating between the teeth. But of course, if you make the plating after the teeth cutting. You take some months to because you have friction for this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
were you using your rounding up tool for anything in your workshop nowadays?
sorry.
Do you know the rounding up tool to
What
shape?
What is the rounding up tool?
The tool that you have in your shop, old tool to shape the end, the cycloidal gears. Do you use that nowadays still, or is that just for show?
No, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean the wheels? A tool for making the teeth, or
yes,
or
yes,
the pinions?
yes. The tool for shaping the teeth. You have a very, very old tool in your shop. You showed us it's called the rounding up tool in English. I was wondering if you still use it.
Teeth or what? But so it's the teeth I make with the Shopping 102. The teeth cutting.
Okay.
And the spokes, it's made by CNC. So I let make it by supplier, and the face I make by hand. The Polish face.
Okay. So you get the wheel blanks, and then you use the Shablin 102 to cut the teeth.
Yes. So the row piece I let made from gold, and then
the rounding up tool is the tool. You know, the old.
You mean? Yeah, of course. I make also not, but it's not the wheel. It's the pinion. The pinion ends. Yeah, for this you need this round up tool. Now so I have a new English word. Thank you.
English, yeah. So you're still using that tool, correct?
Yes, of course. Yeah. It's very important. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, Marco, before we go, I do have a couple of questions from people who have been patiently waiting to get around to them. Earlier, you spoke about clocks. Well, actually, we'll come back to the clocks in a second. Moore has asked a question about hairsprings, and we've talked about this before, Dan. How are hairsprings sourced? Because they are about impossible to source if you're independent.
I get my rose springs from the same supplier like Lang & Heyne. So Haas in Germany, in the Black Forest, makes in the meantime very good. It's the same material like Nibarox. I think I'm not sure, but I think Haas was an inventor. It's a little bit inventor of the Nibarox material, and Haas today can make it in blue. So blued. So they make Nibor, then they blued later. But this is only the rose spiral or the row hairspring. I make the Breguet curve. I make it by myself. Only with things that's special tools.
Yeah.
So you buy the raw flat hairspring, and you pinning the collet and doing the Breguet overcoil yourself.
Yes, I make it by myself, and then the regulating together with the balance, of course. It's a big part of work of the fine regulation of the watch. Yeah.
It's what makes a real watchmaker different from the rest.
Yes. I don't drink coffee before. This is I need a glass of wine for the Breguet curve. I need a glass of wine before.
I try to tell people that want to go to watchmaking school. They say, I don't need watchmaking school. I can learn myself with this George Daniels book, And I said, why don't you spend that 6 months on hairsprings in school and let me know? Yeah. That's a painful 6 months.
For sure. Yeah, also a comment there from Jack Matthew Elam, just saying, agreeing with you about the convenience and the practicality of having a 3D printer in the workshop, and as we can see, used wisely, it is a great asset to have. But there's one question from Watches and Words, who is also in Germany, and so he's saying independent watchmaking is relatively rare, but clockmaking even rarer, even in the AHCI. What is your view? You still create clocks as well, do you, Marco?
Yes, but I have a big respect for the clockmakers and also in the HCI. I love Sebastian Neschke's clocks or Bob Ray clocks. Very good. But the market.
Mickey Ileta's clocks.
Sorry?
Mickey Ileta's clocks.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Mickey is an artist. It's the biggest artist in the HCI. But maybe Sebastian or Matthias Neschke clocks are more my style because it's a precision pendulum clock or precision clocks.
Yes,
that's why I love this very much. And but of course, watchmaking has a challenge because it's you need all the parts very small, but many of the technology of the work and the clocks are more complex or more. I think it's more hard or more difficult than in the watch, and that's why I have big respect for the clockmakers. But the market, the most customers want to have watches.
Yeah. But it is a growing market. I think that clocks are they're having their own rebirth as well. That people who are collecting fine watches are also appreciative of the Matthias, of Sebastian Neschke, of Bob Bray, of MOM, Alessandro in Milan, and new guy. There's some amazing things happening there. We'll have to get
coming more. So now it's I think in the HCI some new members or new candidates are clockmakers. So maybe in the future it comes more.
I think so. I think we're seeing a trend there. That other Anton Suhanov from Russia, who is incredible.
Yes, also an apprentice from.
Yeah, he's worked with Konstantin, and so that's a
genius in clocks. You know, Konstantin clocks.
Konstantin, the Moscow computers
constructor, and he works completely other than me. He is good painter, and any times when I see Konstantin, he makes a little sketch. And later he collects the sketches and makes from this his clocks or watches now. Yeah.
I can't draw. I can't. If I draw just like a stick man, it's like missing an arm. I can't draw to save my life. But I'm just like you, Marco. Like, give me my 3D program on computer, and I have everything talking to each other, and I mathematically configure. I'm in that world, and it shows we're all unique in how we work. That's what fascinates me a little bit about all this. That you might see a Shaolin 70 in most people's shops or something, but we all work a little bit different. We all have different attachments that we feel comfortable doing. We're all human, and that's what's really cool about independent watchmaking. Johnny, can you put up Pietro's question? Because I think
we have two questions left. Donald, we'll get to yours as well. Two questions remaining. Pietro, does Marco feel that we are living a renaissance of indie watchmaking, and are you surprised by it?
Yeah, where? This is the question. In Germany, not, but in United States, I think definitively.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Of course, too. But in Germany, we are. It's only for bigger brands. It's not a good market for, or not a good place for independent.
But I think what he means, Marco, because we're all connected, through Instagram and able to transmit what we do, right? Take pictures inside your workshop. Hopefully you can put up more for all of us because you have a beautiful workshop. People all over the world now are tuned in literally to our home, to where we work, Marco, at our bench. And we have that openness to show and sell or just show our art to the world. And independent watchmaking, I think, now has branched out with that ability globally, right? If you make a watch in your house now in Dresden, if you think that's small and shrink it back down, and someone in Japan loves your art, now you have that ability without somebody in between to sell directly to them and stay home and keep working, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
So maybe to this question again, I think, of course, we have a new renaissance for the independent or for the high quality watchmaking, not the independent, for the high quality watchmaking. And so, of course, the customers looks more and more and knows more and more from quality in finishing and precising of the watches. And I think, and they looks the high end customers looks more and more for works of art, I think, or movements or watches of art.
And you know what, Marco? Now that you're back in your house and you can think again, it is really our story, our struggles. They really want to know more, how hard it is to get that screw in Dresden, or how hard it is to start again in Dresden and make main plates and build your own workshop and build your own plating machine, right? Now that they can see that, that's all part of the humanness of our art, right? Because if you think of old painters, right? It wasn't just about the painting, it was his life that he struggled, right? Or whatever his story was, or how many wives he lost all his money to, or whatever the story was. It's relatable to a certain person who falls in love with your art. And I think that plays a real big role in modern day independent watchmaking, because your art's going to be around long past you're gone, Marco. You make masterpieces that don't just look good, but they will last for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And again, I try to explain that to all the collectors. Some of them used to be worried, why should I buy an independent watchmaker? Where am I going to get a part for that thing, right? When if the company is no longer here or whatever, I give it to my son, and we educate them, me and Johnny, that our watches are built in a whole different standard than mass-produced of the big brands, where someone like yourself, I can get one of your watches and I can if it's got a broken wheel or a broken pinion or a broken shaft. There's nothing without the tools that I have here that I can't manufacture because of the way you manufacture your watches to last. The wheels are thicker. They're not made as thin as they can be to make extra money or make more timepieces. We're overbuilding all our timepieces. All the independent watchmakers that are at your level, we're all doing the same thing. There's no need to worry about parts. It's the opposite syndrome. The collectors should know that a large Swiss company only has to supply parts for 20 years to you, and then you're on your own. And we can't make those parts. They're made, usually most of the time, they're too thin, like I just explained. We can't go on our Schalpelin and make those parts. So your watch is really, if there's no more parts for those timepieces,
but that's more fun. It's not only a challenge, or not. It's also our fun. So I like this. So in this, this is my way, like yours too.
Yeah. Well, here I think I promised you I would do this in 1 hour, Marco, and I apologize. I'm a liar. I did, but there was so much to get through, and it's such a rare opportunity to get to speak with you. So I hope you don't mind. We ran over a little.
Wait, let's ask Marco about music.
Bingo.
Before Marco, we want to know.
I play guitar too, and when I was young, I made my own songs too, but not like you in the heavy metal band. Only like a singer-songwriter alone. But
what kind of music though do you listen to? And
singer-songwriter. I listen to all, I think, but many German music. So it's at the moment we have in Germany a new style of singer-songwriter, a little bit, but very fresh, very, very funny for young people, young girls and boys. I like this very much. So I hear this with my children. So I have 3 daughters and 1 son. And so my taste is very young, but not in a bigger bands or bigger things. It's very also independent Germans maybe.
Yeah.
Are you still playing guitar now?
Less. Sometimes watchmaking is too dominant.
A little like myself, Marco. You know, we'll not ask you to play something for us.
So in the 80s, like when I used to come there, and in the beginning of thrash metal, I mean, obviously I toured all the way through the 90s and all that too. But in the early 80s, when us and Metallica were touring together and spending, weeks and weeks and weeks and through Germany, were you seeing all those kids with the leather and the jean jackets with all the patches on, all the metalheads? Were you like seeing all those kids in the streets? Do you remember? Or were you you weren't going to heavy metal shows back then?
The GDR, it was a little bit different to the rest of the world. It's jeans, it was not so big.
Yeah. Mind you, Rammstein came out of GDR, didn't it?
But later, I think it was founded in the 90s, or not?
Yeah,
Possibly. Yeah.
But
you're right.
It's from Brandenburg, in the near of Berlin, I think.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Listen, Marco, thank you so much
Pietro.
for joining us. Pietro was one of those kids. He still is. So, listen, thank you so very much for giving us so much of your time tonight and joining us for a fascinating conversation and a really enjoyable chat. I hope that you enjoyed it half as much as I did.
Me too. I enjoyed it too. Thank you very much.
Me too.
Well, wonderful. And when you have the successor to Zweigesicht in a year or two's time or whenever that is.
I want to hear from them too. Say Zweigesicht.
Okay, there's not a chance I can say that.
Go on down. Zweigesicht.
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 Hey,
Yeah.
get it out. And tonight's lesson.
That's because my name is German, right? Spitz.
Yes.
Yeah. Tonight's lesson in German has come from Mr. Marco Lang. So, listen, thanks again. And whenever you bring out your successor to Zweigesicht, we will do this again, hopefully. And but in the meantime, thank you so much. You wait for one moment after I end, Marco, so we can say.
Thank you, Marco, so much for coming on the show and doing this. I know you don't really like you haven't done these things, but to share the struggle, the happiness, the joy, the perseverance of what you do, what you've done, you've inspired so many watchmakers, and you probably don't even realize how much or how deep the love you've given to all of us to dream and come up with our own ideas, to stare at pictures of your creations for hours, just like I did as a kid, staring at pictures of musicians' guitars and equipment. We do the same thing. And it's incredible what you've created and what you've done. I don't think for 1 minute it hasn't impacted so many of us, because I speak to other watchmakers as well. And you've done so much.
Thank you also for sharing the independent mind in the world.
That's what we're.
We wish you just the best on everything going forward.
Yeah.
And we can't wait till we can travel a little bit more and come visit, if you'll allow us.
Marco, just hold on for one moment, and we'll say our goodbyes. And I just want to say goodbye to everyone who has watched and followed us again tonight. Donald, thank you. Sorry I didn't get to your question earlier on, but listen, thank you for everyone who has been tuned in and spent the last 90 minutes with us. You're great. Tell your friends, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you.